One of the hardest things about having fetal alcohol syndrome is that you can't do what you really want to do in some ways because nobody will teach you how to drive, really. Or nobody thinks you're capable of doing the stuff that you think you might be capable of doing. And most people will not let you try things because they take responsibility for you. Like, they won't teach you how to drive because they think if you get in a car accident or you killed, then it's on them because they taught you how to drive. And it's so dang hard to have a disability that could have been prevented because of choice your both mom made or your mom made is a hard pill to swallow. And it affects a lot of your life in different ways. Not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it makes life harder. Because you've got to distinguish language, you've got to read a room, you've got to process what somebody else says and listen to what they say at the same time. And you might not even get a clue of what they're saying. And then you also got to think about how you're going to respond. And you have to think about what they're saying before you think about how you're going to respond. It's just sad. And it's sad how the world treats people with fetal alcohol syndrome. One thing I hope for the future is that there's a mentor program for people with fetal alcohol syndrome to have a buddy with them that isn't paid but wants to be the friend and to help them out with navigating the world and navigating stressful situations and to help them learn more about emotional intelligence and social skills without damaging their self-esteem or without trying to make them think they need to fit in and be like everybody else. And it's just when the world tells you something different and then church tells you something different and then your parents tell you something different, it is so hard to know which one to believe in and which one is right. And if you've had trauma in your life, it is horrible the way people treat people with trauma and how they can't deal with you too much. Or how they say, just focus on the good. You have so much to be positive. There's a lot worse people off than you. It could always be better. It could always be worse. Or they say when you tell them a story, that is not in my expertise. You need to go see a therapist. I wish people would understand. It's not just like you call up a therapist and then you're automatically in with that therapist. You have to worry about financial. You have to worry about if it's the right therapist. You have to worry about if the therapist even understands fetal alcohol syndrome disorder because the rest of the world doesn't. The therapist has to know that you might not even remember half of what the therapist says to you to do. And even if you write it on a piece of paper, sometimes people forget where they put the piece of paper or to read the piece of paper. So it's not like, and then you got to worry about medicine. Like, and the financial of the medicine and the side effects of the medicine. And if you even want to take the medicine, because like the rest of the world does not talk about medicine. It's not talked about in church. What's talked about is the Lord will help you solve your problems. Pills are not talked about in church. It's just not. It's like a taboo subject. And then some people think if they take medicine that they are failing God because God is supposed to be the one that helps you walk through it. And then you feel like that God is not enough if you have to take medicine to be happy or medicine to calm you down for anxiety or something. And then you feel like something's wrong with you. And on medicine, it changes your personality. Like, I don't want to take medicine to be happy. And I'm happy. I want to experience little joys without having to take medicine. And I do experience little joys without having to take medicine. I don't want to experience something happy just because I took a pill. And when you take a pill, it changes your personality. And then it's hard to distinguish what your personality is and what your personality is not. Because then you say, well, is this the pill or is this me? So then you have like more of an identity crisis in some ways. And medicine does not fix everything. So I just wish the rest of the world would understand people with disabilities more, and to not just push them away just because they're negative, or not push them away just because they are socially awkward. And people have other stuff on top of disabilities, certain disabilities too. And you don't know when somebody is a minute away from going to get a gun and just shooting themselves. You don't know. And that's not to scare people. That's the truth. I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't know what people are thinking, or when they're on their last breath or about to drown in water. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And they can be the happiest person and act like the happiest person in the world, but still be crumbling inside. Because that person is afraid that if they're not happy, that people aren't going to want to be around them, or that you can't just go around when people ask how you doing and say, I've had a bad year, or anything like that, because then they're not going to want to talk to you because you're always so negative. And then when you do talk to people, it's, this is not my expertise. I was not built to deal with this. Go see a therapist. So nobody wants to sit there and listen to people complain, as they call it, or people tell their battles or struggles every day. So you have to try to fit in with the world and the world's expectations while having a disability. It's so dang hard.